All right, so I'm back, y'all. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Um, yes. Go ahead and start writing in the comments if you can hear me, so we can get started. I'm mad because we were getting into some deep dialogue, but we can revisit. When it's the truth, you don't have to make nothing up. So we can revisit it. I'm trying to set this up the best way. This actually looks a lot better too. Looks a lot better. Yep, it works. Let me see what they're saying because I'm gonna have to log on as well. Can anyone here bring them on camera? Okay. All right. And I'm gonna log on to this one so I can see when they're making comments.
Okay.
Sometimes talk show hosts.
That we can't talk.
I know. I know. All right, let me go here.
That's a Jackson. Is that you? She can hear.
I'm about to see now. Okay. So they said they can. I'm gonna type. Can you hear? Okay. So they said All right, I think we are good now. We're getting a lot of people coming with too. Okay. Come on up, Will, some more. Yeah. Yep, they said we can hear now. All right, so we got to start all over. But like I said again, you don't have to. Let me save this first. All right, so we got to start all over. Well, hold on. Project. Okay. Let me save it as Y. All right, we are back. Sorry about that, but again, I'm now we good. You get me because I get you. I get you. All right, so this topic, everybody, again, this is your favorite family member, Uncle Mike, and I'm going to speed through this because we were into deep dialogue already. But this is your favorite family member, Uncle Mike, and I'm bringing to you an episode titled, What is Family? We're thinking about what is family because everyone was not raised in the traditional form of mother, father, or being raised with people who necessarily love them or were just in some kind of situations that we didn't always agree with, or we didn't think that was fair to us. I have here my niece Monique.
Hello.
I have my brother here, Will.
Hey.
And again, this is the guy who you've heard me talk about in a number of videos.
Yeah. I know the box.
A number of videos. He's all good. Even though it seems a little sketchy, he's all good. He's good people. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it again. We're going to talk about this topic because it relates to all three of us personally. Again, we are all family. That's it. We're all family, and we're going to explain to you some of the different things or different ways that we were raised up. As far as what we felt was unfair, or as far as we felt, was fair, or if we wish that we can change things. We want to talk about all that. So. I hope you guys seen the episode of Iyanla Fix My Life. She talked about this young girl whose name is Kamaya. Kamaya was abducted from the hospital at 8 hours old, not 8 days, not she got a chance to spend time with her mother. This is 8 hours, and her mother was a teen mother. She was 16 years old. 16 years old, this lady has her child. All of a sudden, this lady posed as a nurse, went and took her daughter. Because I think they said she has had a miscarriage or something like that, and she wasn't able to carry, so she went and posed as a nurse and was able to take this baby out of the hospital, raise this girl all the way up as another name. Her name was Alexis, per her new mom, and raised her up until she was 17 years old. Basically, what happened is the normal thing. The kid tried to get a job, and then she asked the mother, can I get my birth certificate or my social security card? At this point, you can't produce it, So now the mother is forced with having to tell her what happened. So she tells the daughter what happened, Kamaya. Kamaya then tells, I think like a family member or somebody around, and then it gets out that this baby was abducted. And then she's reunited with her mother. She goes on Ayanla Fix My Life because it was all over the news. And she blows up with a lot of anger. And to my understanding, I couldn't really see like where she was pinpointing the anger because the interview didn't go long enough because Kamaya couldn't handle it. Yeah. So my question is to my panel, again, we all watched it. What did you think about it and what did you pull from it? Will, you have one first last time, so you can go ahead and go.
Yeah. Again, it was a powerful and compelling story, one that I could identify with as it relates to, I was in foster care from 3 to 17, and so when she was confronted with the idea that her mother had committed a criminal act, immediately you think about yourself. What does that say about me? That's my mom, and that's her whole world. Her identity was tied up into the life that she had lived for 17 years. And so I shared earlier that, the anger that she shared or directed at Ayanna was really at her mothers, both of them, I felt, because in being raised in foster care from 3 until I left at 17, I was angry at my mother, disappointed, embarrassed. I went to a number of schools, and so, everybody's mother, from my view, was just, wholesome, Molly homemaker, and mine was a prostitute on heroin. And that had a lot tied up into my identity, and so when I would keep it inside. And I like what they stated in the episode also, you sick as your secrets. And so when I couldn't talk about it, it made me feel even worse, and so when it had to come out, when she told Ayanna, don't call her a liar, that's what she is. She lied, and your life has been a lie, and that's. And
even when she said it, like instantly, her face dropped. Like, you don't talk about my mother like
that's
that.
Right.
And she's with her biological mother now, but in Kamaya raised as Alexis, that lady who was in jail was her mother.
Absolutely.
Was her mother.
You can talk about daddy.
You can't talk about mama. I mean, half the time because they ain't there.
Right. That's not in our country.
I know.
We break in that cycle.
Yes, we are. Monique, you got a comment?
So how I feel, I can relate to the story. I've been in foster care basically my entire life until the age of 4 when I was brought to my now adopted mother, who I appreciate very well.
Make sure you say that.
But at one point, my biological sisters, which are twins, were living with us. They were a little rough around the edges, I do admit, but I couldn't understand at a young age why my adopted mother gave them up but kept me. That I feel like that they were all I had, and that tore a big part from me. And I wasn't able to see them or talk to them as often. But then when I did get back in touch with them, of course, we still talk to this day. But I was so angry for so long, I couldn't understand why. And just like Kamaya, when I got adopted, my name was changed. It wasn't changed completely, it was changed around. My biological name was Ashanti Monique. It's now Monique Ashanti. So I was teased in school a lot about that.
So when you got your name changed, you were like already going as Ashanti.
Yes, okay. I was up until 7 years old. I was Ashanti Monique. When I turned 7 and entered the 2nd grade, and I can remember this day like yesterday. Entered the 2nd grade and went to the school, and they were trying to find my class. They kept on saying, "What is your name?" I kept on saying, "My name is Monique. My name is Monique," because at that time I had just got adopted. They couldn't find me. So they said, well, they had to call my mom and see that I was Ashanti, so that's what they still had on her roster. I was teased about that for a long time, which made me angry as well. So for years, I still believe I still have some kind of anger inside that I can't let go, but I don't know why I can't let it go. But for years, I was angry. I always have an attitude. I try to be nice, but I just have anger built up inside of me for this matter. Not saying it has anything to do with my adopted mother or my biological mother. I just didn't understand why God chose me to be adopted out of everybody you could have chose. Why me? And before I got a chance to actually build a relationship with my biological mother, she passed away. So I just didn't understand, like, God, why you never let me get a chance to, you know, meet. I met her a few times, but you never let me get a chance to build that relationship or meet my children or anything. I just didn't understand why. But I know you can't question God. It's just some kind of anger that I had built up, which I haven't found it in my heart to let go completely yet. But my adopted family, I appreciate so much because they have taken me on as their own, treated me like I was blood. No one have ever treated me no different. As a young child, me getting whoopings or whatever the case may be, I thought that was because I was adopted, but me not knowing. I used to get a whooping. I say, I hate this family. I wish I was with my real family. Like that was going to make a difference. But as I'm older, I understand that didn't make a difference. That was part of the discipline, and I appreciate it because it made me to become the woman and mother that I am today for my children. But my adopted mother, she have done so much, and I know me and my brothers and sisters act like we never appreciated her or she was just so bad, but in reality she was not. She was the perfect mother. Everything wasn't always peaches and creams, even with biological families, it's not peaches and cream. So,
and I think, I don't want to stop you, but I think that that's the important piece too. I said before that we always think that this only happens to us. We always think that we are the only ones going through this hard time or this unforeseen or unwelcome circumstance, but it happened. It happened a lot. I'm reading the comment now as you guys are watching the video. And one of the guys just said, this is a real touchy subject.
It definitely is.
It's a real touchy subject because we know that it happens. And we know that it happens to more than what we know of. Because people don't talk about it. As I was doing some research for this and looking up different topics, I was thinking, like, you hear people on TV say, I was homeless. I had to sleep in my car. I didn't necessarily have a great relationship with my mother because I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. And then to really be honest, the only person who I've really heard go into depth conversation about it was Tiffany Haddish, the comedian that is like really blown up. Blown up at this point. And when I say like she go in depth, she tells about being in foster homes. She tells about being in a house where nobody spoke English. She's already a teenager and trying to find her identity. And then you have to worry about language barrier. So this is why I knew this topic would definitely be appropriate for everyone. So again, we have Monique, who was adopted at 7 years old. We have Will, who was in foster care from 3 to 17. 3 to 17 years. 3 to 17. Yeah. And my story is I wasn't necessarily in foster care or adopted, but I was given legal guardianship to my mom, Violet. So again, a lot of times you see me on Facebook and you'll see the two ladies. And I'll say my mom, and some people like, well, who are you talking about? You ain't talking, because I haven't seen this person and I haven't seen that person. But I always say that I have two moms. And I appreciate that because my biological mom, the reason why I was in the situation I was forced into was because she was out in the world, dabbling in drugs, kind of living her life. And it was best. Like I always say that I always say I'm perfect anyways. But I always say that I'm her like angel child because after me was like 1 year she got her life together. So I always keep that in mind. But I always pay homage and respect to my other mama because she brought me in, and like Monique said, you can tell that we're not blood. You know, you cannot tell that we were, that I did not come from her. I'll leave it at that. You know, you can't tell that even like my siblings who I have with my other mom, people even say that we look alike. And people say sometimes, you know, well, if you feed somebody long enough, they start looking like you. So I'm guessing that has something to do with it. Yeah. But I too struggle with, like, when I first got back with my biological mom, who most of you guys do know, when I got back with her, I definitely struggle with, like, I don't need to be here. I don't, you know, and I don't want to be here. You know, I'm over here for whatever reason. And, like, to be honest, like, you left me. You know, so I can go back to where I came from. Anytime I get chastised, like Monique said, anytime I get chastised, anytime that something was done to me where I didn't feel like that it was being fair. And to be honest, some of those things were not fair being done to me.
Life's not fair.
Yeah, but life is not fair. I always, like, that was my go-to. You know, I can go back where I get on the phone and I'll call my sisters, like, she just did this to me. And they were young at the time, so they were feeding in right into, well, we coming to get you, you know? Or, you know, go to school, and once you get to school, we go come and get you. Because they were still on my school papers. Like, when it comes down, all the way up until I was in high school, it had parent, and then it had legal guardian, and it had both of my mom's name. And when I was going through it, I didn't even know that that was the reason why. For a long time, I thought that I was adopted. But one thing that my mom, too, has always been, which is really honest with me. She's always been honest. She's always told me the truth. Another thing, too, is my sister, majority of all of my biological siblings were one was in foster care, one was raised by the family, one was raised by his father. Two was raised by their father. My brother, he was raised with our dad until we moved with my mom. And I lost my train of thought. I was rambling on. I lost my train of thought. But again, my mom was always honest. And she always told me that the reason why she did what she did was because she felt it was best. She felt it was best that my sister Jackie, who was the only one that was adopted, was actually supposed to be staying with my grandmother, which is my mom. But my mom was 14 when she had her. So it wasn't no ties to that baby. And then, you know, like, back in the day, I know that grandparents did raise kids, but it's like, this your problem. You know, this your problem. Yeah, you know, this your problem. I seen a post, said, what happened to the grandmothers that used to watch their kids? Because it don't happen no more.
Not at all.
So, you know, we go through all that stuff. So I went into my backstory, and we all went into our backstory about being raised untraditionally. So my next question is, how did it feel being raised outside the household without parents? Like, you did say, you know, I always wanted to go back to my parents, but did you ever feel like that where you were, even though it was a better situation, that it still wasn't where you should have been? You know, do you ever feel like, you know, or did you ever feel like at the time, like, I probably need to be with my biological mother?
I did feel like that up until I was 14 when I ran away from home.
I remember.
I ran away from home at 14 years old. I went from Detroit to Chicago. I had my sisters come get me. Went back to Chicago. Got in touch with my biological mother. And I went and stayed with her for days. Maybe 3 to 4 days tops. And I went in there like, what is this? Like, this is not what I'm used to. Where's my mama? I don't eat this and I don't eat that. And they was questioning me, oh, why don't you eat this? Oh, you don't eat sausage? I said, no, my mama know. I don't call her your mama in my house. I'm like, oh yeah, this is too much. It was just like the living was. They was in a small apartment, and I came from at home. I had a
12 kids.
we had a nice house. When we lived in Hazel Crest, we had a 5-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms. So I wasn't used to this little tiny apartment. You got me sleeping on a futon, trying to force me to eat food. I was not used to that. So at that time, I realized I see why God blessed me with a better mother, because that's not what I was used to. And they was saying I was funny acting, and this is my mother and my auntie saying that I was funny acting. But as I was brought up, this was what I knew. This is what I used to, and I was used to. But beforehand, I was thought that I was living so bad with my adopted mother that when I got with the real mother, I'm like, okay, well, I see why people call me bougie, because this is not it. So yeah, for a long time, I did feel like, well, I should be with my biological mother like everybody else, until I was able to be with her and see the grass is not greener on the other side.
Yeah. So my situation is a little different than you guys, but I believe the emotions are the same. Around 14 also. So my father was killed at 11. And so I was in foster care. I was able to go to the funeral. And then around 14, I want to say 13, 14, I was on a home visit. They used to let us, on the weekends. And so one particular day, I got up early, went in the room, because I'm happy. I'm with my mama. Life is good.
Jackie told me about those. Like when they set you up to go and visit your mom. Like that's like the best day.
It is because I feel whole. I felt like this is where I belong. This is perfect. Similar to what you was sharing. And when I went in the room, my mother was in there with a needle in her groin. And so when I saw that, it just really, I can still see it now. It's like you never forget it. But all the things that people had told me while I was in foster care, and it was like a lot of times, you think you're in a bad situation. And that's in life, really. That's the lesson I've taken from that. A lot of times you look and you think, oh, this is bad. Why? But I was never exposed to anything like that in foster care. It was always a 2-parent household, and both of them were working. And
so all of your foster homes
all
were
of them
like
had two parents. All of them had 2 parents, working. And but again, I felt like an outsider. It was like, and I didn't get whoopings, and so the thing was, when they would get whoopings, it was like, wow, I'm glad I don't get, because they got beat with the stitches and all that. So sometimes being with your real mama, you get them real. I missed out on them extension cords, and I'm grateful for that. But what it did do is it showed me again, like Monique was sharing, that it wasn't that bad where I was, and it was like, so when I went back, my attitude wasn't better, because still that's conflict on the inside. Just because that's a worse situation don't mean that I want to be in a situation that I'm in, so.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but when I do want to add this on. When I went back, before I went back, I was with some friends that I was involved in an armed robbery in Chicago. At the time, I ran away with my mom. I was involved in an armed robbery, and I thank God for my mother, my adopted mother, Sharon Henson, and my auntie Jackie. I don't know what they did. I was in jail. I don't know what they did and what they said, but I was able to walk free with no charges, no time served, any of that. So I appreciate them for that. And when I came back home, I can honestly say, after experiencing how the way that my mother treated me, when she told me, don't call her mother, call her Cheryl, the way that I was treated, it made me come back home. And from the time my adopted mother came and picked me up, I got back in school, and I graduated high school valedictorian.
Yep. Good stuff. I remember that too. I'm gonna read a comment that we have here. It's from Adam. Adam is one of my friends, family that I went to Central State with, and he said foster homes for me. And I'll give you a backstory. And I know he wouldn't mind this. Adam is gay, and he's like a flamboyant gay.
Okay.
So he says foster home. Yeah, I know, right? So foster homes for me was a getaway. Even though it's not funny, I laughed today. But I was abused, and I was told, and I told because I was scared. He said, Mama had me messed up, but I had forgiven her.
Yeah.
My dad is around now. Didn't know him growing up, but by wig, and I'm guessing that's meaning like. But anyways, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Adam said no, he didn't mind me saying that. Okay. So again, and I'll talk to Adam about some of these things too when we were back at Central State. But everyone life in foster homes, like you said, Will, in foster homes, you were like treated really good, but you still wanted the opposite.
Absolutely.
You know, you still wanted the opposite.
Yeah.
Adam was getting abused in homes, and I'm quite sure that if he was, well, I don't want to speak for him, but I would not want to get abused.
No.
But as I was watching This Is Us, the best show on TV, you know, I was watching This Is Us this weekend.
They're going to be one of your sponsors.
Yeah. I know, right? It's so crazy how, like, when you think of things and then, like, things just start coming into you, because this was a topic that I've been told both of them that we were going to do. But then the Ayanna episode came out last week.
Yeah.
How ironic.
Yeah.
Then on This Is Us, it talks about this adopted girl who she ends up getting put back with her mom. They end up losing their home, getting evicted. The mom then calls like the foster parents. No, not the mom, the daughter. The foster parents went to go and look for them. They found them in the car asleep. So the foster parents allowed the mom and the daughter to come. Of course, they already had a relationship with the daughter, but they really loved the girl, and she knew that was the best thing for her as well. She loved the girl. I mean, they loved the girl, and the mom went to the house as well to try to stay at night. The mom was looking at her daughter interact with the other kids and interact with the family. And she said, I've never seen this. And the lady is like, I've never seen what?
Yeah.
She said, I've never seen my daughter be a kid. And she wasn't allowed to be a kid because she was in these situations to where she had to be the adult.
Yeah.
She had to put up money to try to save so that the lights wouldn't get cut off. And she had to put up money, make sure that she was able to get something to eat. Her mom had guys coming in and out, and she had to deal with all that. And the mom ended up leaving the house and was like, I gotta go. She's good here with y'all. She's good with y'all. Yeah. And again, it brought back from what my mom told me about, like, I felt like that I put you guys in the best situation.
Absolutely.
For you because I couldn't do it. And I appreciate that. But again, I always felt growing up, I always felt like, especially being younger, like, who do I relate to? Because I didn't move with my biological mom until I was 7, I think. But my mom would come and get me because she was clean. So she would come and get me. They had a relationship. My mom would send money. Like, she was always there. I knew who she was. Didn't know the situation,
right? But
I knew who she was. And always a tug of war. Like, again, like I said before, like, I don't need to be here with you. I got 2 houses. I can go to this house and I can, where I'm treated the way that I feel like I should be treated. But the structure was different. The structure was different. And I love my siblings to death. But we were raised by my sisters, Chantel, Sandra. Tammy was like the youngest. She was a real early teen, and Tori was like in his about late teens. But Sandra and Butter, Chantel, are the oldest. And they were like 15 and 16. So my mom would go to work because she was a bus driver and you work in long hours. Yeah. She would go to work and we were left there with Sandra and Chantel, and they were teenagers. So I would say that we were raised by kids, So the structure was a lot differently from being raised by a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old to my mom, who, first of all, I felt like, you really ain't got the right to come in and tell me what to do, and you wasn't there. Right. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that for a long time, but I always – I always, again, respect it. And now I understand, the structure was a lot differently from being raised by a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old to my mom, who, first of all, I felt like, you ain't got the right to come in and tell me what to do, and you wasn't there. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that for a long time, but I always respect it. And now I understand the relationship that was necessary.
Absolutely.
We go through things that, of course, we don't want to put our kids through. I mean, I always think about, now that I have my son, I feel like I'm sometimes an over parent because I want to compensate for what I didn't have.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked a lot about mothers in the situation, and we didn't touch about fathers. You said your father passed when you was 11. He got killed?
Yes, he was killed.
You want to go into that?
Absolutely. So that's kind of the norm, sadly, that back then, it's, even now, still black men still getting killed early, leaving kids without that influence, that person that you can kind of identify with, or to learn how to become a man, a lot of them are leaving. So when I was 11, he already wasn't there though. And so I have a couple of memories from my father, sadly, and you and I used to discuss, it's important and powerful what you say to kids because they remember it forever. And so
that's another episode too.
Yeah.
So you're ready for that one. Yeah.
It's, when I was maybe about 5 or 6, somewhere around there, I remember him jumping on my mother.
Mm-hmm.
He was beating her with an umbrella. And so as a little boy, I'm trying to protect my mother, and I'm grabbing his leg, and I'm crying. And he turned around, and he said, "Only sissies cry."
Mm-hmm.
And when right now today, I still have difficulty crying.
Mm-hmm.
I cried when I got married. But, on a normal, and that's a natural cleanse. That's the ability to release stuff. So that, coupled with all the other things that I was involved in, I'm the type of person that suppress a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I hold on to it and hold on to it.
Yes, you do.
But
I do as well.
But so it was that, and then there was one other event where he was playing with us at a bus stop, my brother and I, and that was a blessing too, because it gave me a chance to see at least a human side.
Yeah.
So that, and I think that helps with. You said you overcompensate. I just think that right now in this world now, you can't overcompensate unless you overdoing just buying and not being there. The time that you spend with your son is priceless. It's giving him the opportunity to feel what we felt that we needed to feel. Even though I believe that in lieu of all that I went through, it made me a stronger person.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you don't have stuff, you appreciate stuff. So yeah, with my kids, you and I are a lot alike in that area where, my 2 minor kids, they live with me, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
And not, I can't say that my father affected me one way or the other, but I know that a lot of questions that I have, I couldn't ask. And now I still have difficulty reaching out with men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so we have great influence on our kids, and I just know that him dying at that age and me having to deal with that, now I can look back and say that, I am grateful that I wasn't in I listened to both of you, and I'm glad that my mother and father put me in foster care, because I could have been in a lot worse situation. So it's
I think that's difficult to say, and because you don't ever want to slight your parents at all, because again, like we say about Kamaya, Kamaya was defending her mother.
Yes.
Like this is my mother, and you can't blame her for wanting to have that. And then you can't feel any kind of way. And this is going to bring another thing too. Iyanla told the father, he was like, I just want her to forget about her at all.
Yeah.
And Iyanla said, if you want your daughter, you have to understand and allow her to feel the way that she needs to feel about the woman who was raised as her mother.
For 17 years.
Because that's all that she knew.
Absolutely.
And like you said, Will, too, as far as dads, my father was not around my life either, being raised up. But I said this before, I had a number of male influences growing up. So I don't feel like I lack, but it's always that thought of what would he be like?
Yeah.
I tell Kyle, my best friend, I always tell him, I say, it's so cool that you and your dad can go out to the bar with each other. It's so cool that your dad come around and he kick it with just like he was one of us. But it's because of that relationship that was built. And Monique, I know personally that you were not raised with your father, but you end up finding him eventually. So you can go into that as well.
Okay, but before I go into that, I had to step away and get confirmation. My biological sister, Shakita, just tuned in. And I wanted to say, being in a foster care it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. Unfortunately, it was a blessing for me, but I'm not going to say it wasn't a blessing for my twin sisters, but their life wasn't as peachy as mine because as a child growing up, they were sexually and physically abused. And if my adopted mother would have sent me on with them, I could have been in the same situation.
And you wanted to go with them, right?
And I wanted to go with them. I wanted to be with my sisters. I didn't care what the circumstances was. I wanted to be with them. They wanted to be with me. We wanted to be with each other. So we used to be on the phone finding ways to run away and be with each other. So, it could go either ways. And Shakita, you can put your comment in and let people know. I'm just happy that I didn't have to go through that, and I still feel some type of way that you guys had to go through that. And as a kid, I was thinking like, it's nothing I can do, but I felt their pain, even though I was not in the situation. I was angry, like with my mom, and I used to ask her, why didn't you keep my sisters? Like, because I used to tell her what was going on. Why didn't you keep them? Can you try to get them back? She couldn't get them back for, multiple reasons. But I was still upset about that my sisters had to go through that. And
Shakita said that pain made her strong.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sad that they had to go through that. But I'm happy that we're the women we are today.
Yeah.
What was my question?
So you were talking about your father, about just finding your father, like,
okay,
a couple years ago, right?
It was about almost 3 years ago. My auntie Jackie, which is Michael's sister, she always knew who my father was, but it was hard for them to try to get him to come around to me because at the time that him and my mother, I was conceived, my father was married. And he didn't want anything to do with me because he was married. So a couple years ago, I was reunited with him. We talked on the phone day in and day out, which we don't talk right now at this time because he just feel like he wasn't able to do anything for me. So he feel like less of a man. So it's hard for him to talk to me. But when we first got in tune, we were talking every day. And when I came to Chicago the year before last, I went to his house. He made me and my adopted mother, I brought her along with me because I didn't feel safe. Everything that my biological family is trying to do with me now, I tell my adopted mother, if you're not with me, I don't feel safe going because that's all I know. That's my mama. If she can't come, then I'm not going. And that's my protector. That's who I always had. So I always ask her, like, if you going with me, I'll go. If not, I'm not going because I'm not a people person. So, we went over there. He made us dinner. He made us a big dinner. Everything you could think of was on that table, and I appreciated everything. But he just, I wasn't missing anything. My stepfather, which is Alex, I ain't gonna say his last name. My stepfather, when he came into my life, when we moved to Detroit, he came into my life and showed me what it was like to have a father. He made sure that the way he treated my mother and everything, he made sure that we didn't want for anything. He showed me what a man was supposed to do in a household.
And he was clean.
So I appreciate that. And I have adopted brothers and sisters, which I love to death. We like, that's all I know. So, but as we were younger, we used to say things to each other that was so hurtful that I think have affected us in our relationship to this day. We all still have a great relationship with each other, But I think as a kid and us hurting so much,
It's always underlying tone.
yeah, the things we used to say to each other, oh, you're not my sister and you're not my real sister. It was just so much hurtful things we said to each other, but I'm still happy that we are able to this day to be able to talk to each other and, you know, let our kids be around each other when I'm in Chicago and just come together as a family. They used to call us the Hintons, and the Hintons, if you're from Hazelcrest, you know who the Hintons were. But my mom always told us, if one fight, all fight. And that's what we used to do. That's what we were known for, the Hintons. We were known for fighting. So nobody ever could tell unless we told them that we were adopted. Me and my younger sister, Nunu, they say we're twins. They say we look just alike. Even though that's not my biological sister, they say that we look just alike.
Raised the same way.
So, you know, that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna go on the topic when you said like that your father felt guilty and because we're gonna bring it back a little bit. Dealing with when I got back with my biological mother, again, I always knew who she was, had a relationship with her. My mom will always tell me, and I stick by this today, that don't nobody owe you anything. And back then, I'm like, yes, you do. Yeah. You
I didn't ask
exactly. Yeah, you are my mother, so yes, you do owe me something. But now, as I've gotten older, a quote that Oprah says is, "You have no one to blame of how your life turned out, but yourself."
That's right.
You can't blame things on that your mother wasn't there or your parents was crackheads and anything, because at the end of the day, you have the mentality and a choice to do what it is that you need to do. And so with feeling guilty, again, I wasn't raised with my father, and we have a relationship, but it's just like, you know, hi and, you know, how you doing? And then we go our separate ways. But what he always says to me, and it never fails. Now, I don't hold, at least I don't think I hold any grudges towards him. Maybe if things were like dug up a little, I can say some things that I didn't agree with. But he would, it never fails. Every time we get on the phone, he would say to me, you know, I just feel so bad that I wasn't there and able to be a dad to you because I don't know how to start now. You know, and I always tell him that it's not about, again, for my mom being the person that she is, it's not about being, it's not about what happened in the past, because if we want to live about what happened in the past, I mean, I just did some stuff last week that I wasn't too proud of, and it'll make, you know, and it'll make somebody mad and all that. So we always have to start fresh each day and start to build relationships with those people that we don't see often. And now it's not even on me, because even though he feels the way, and I told him he don't have to feel that way, he still doesn't reach out like he should, because it's the guilt.
The guilt still eating him up.
It's the guilt. And we are our biggest critics, and we hold ourselves back from so much because of how we feel
that we should have been.
That we should have been.
And you shouldn't have. I mean, sometimes I think just to apologize, to say you're sorry, and to move on. Sometimes, because if you keep digging it up, it makes it worse. You know, you can't change yesterday. So when people continue, and myself now, you know, I have kids, and I agree with you that there's some things that I've done. I've not been perfect, but to tell them, I think the nice thing is when you become a parent, you're a lot easier. It's a lot easier to forgive your parents, because you can see. You think they should be perfect, but there are no perfect parents, just like there are no perfect children. And so sometimes I think just apologize and move forward, and then forgive yourself. I mean, forgive yourself.
I heard somebody say that I never understood the things my mom said to me until I became a parent.
Exactly.
You know, I never understood what my grandma used to say to me until I became a parent, because we think that those things, you don't know what you're talking about.
You old.
You old.
I don't
you know.
Now, shoot. And it's like, because I got a 16-year-old now, and it's like, anything that I tell her, it's like I'm trying to block her from living your life. Why would I want to stop you from living your life? I want the best for you, but as a kid, I'm a block, you know, because of what, you know, I this discipline and blah,
And
blah,
kids
blah.
never see it though.
Right.
No.
Like, I mean, like Monique, you said you ran away. Like I said, I remember that. I remember that vividly.
Yeah, I do too.
I remember that vividly. And then everybody's wondering, like, well, where's Monique at? And we know she's in Chicago. And Sharon would keep it together, but I know she was hurt. And I know she had to be hurt because, like you said, she did the best that she could.
Absolutely.
For all of her kids that she had.
Yeah.
But kids don't understand
We
that.
don't, and I never understood it. So that's why I had so much hurt in me. So whatever she was saying, I just thought that she didn't really care because she wasn't my mama, so she didn't care.
Yeah.
Which now that I'm an adult, I understand because I have a daughter now, and some of the stuff I say to her, she be like, "Well, what you saying that for, mama? Or what did that mean?" So she don't understand. But as she get older, I believe she will understand this. Her and her brothers will understand some of the stuff I said. But also, now that I have a daughter, the stuff that my adopted mother used to do with me.
And we're only
I'm
saying
now-
like adopted and others so that you understand.
Yes.
Because we don't call adopted mother and other mama. Like we're just saying, we're just saying that so that you understand. So we're not meaning to offend anyone
Right.
either.
Okay, so with my adopted mother, some of the things that she did for me when I was a child, I now do with my daughter. Just earlier this morning, my mom used to take me to my adopted mother, so you can know. She used to take me to the grocery store with her, show me how to grocery shop and show me how to bargain. This morning, me and my daughter, we went to the grocery store. I show her how to grocery shop, show her how to budget and get things. So, of course she didn't understand. She's only 8. She like, oh, so mama, is some of this stuff going to be free? Or, she didn't understand. But living in a foster care, it was a blessing, but it also was a lesson that I would never want my children to be in a foster home because I don't know, it could go.
Even though yours was good.
Yes, even though mine was, I had no problems now that I'm older and see. I had no problems and no worries, and I'm actually happy that I was in a foster home because it helped me become the woman that I am today and the mother I am today. But I do my best as a mother because I would never want my children in a foster home because of what my sisters went through and what I've heard other family members going through, and I would never want to see that happen to my children.
Okay, good point. Yeah. So I think we didn't went over a number of these questions that I had. Like one question was, do you feel that you were shortchanged, or do you feel that you have not finished? Do you feel like you were shortchanged on your life as far as the way that you were supposed to? Do you feel like you would have been somebody different if the situation was different? So let me give you an example. Again, I'm not meaning to offend anyone, but I'm going off of personal stories and things that I've heard. Like my siblings who was adopted or raised by other family members. My sister Jackie, she always has said she was raised, and when she got adopted, she was raised in a 2-family household, and the dynamic of that was crazy because Jackie went from being the youngest of I think 5 to the oldest of 6 when she got reunited with us. And she would always say she would say I would never. I'm very thankful for my upbringing because I would not want to be raised how my siblings were raised. And I didn't find any shade towards it because mine wasn't bad, but some of my other siblings were going through some other things that possibly, I have a brother now who goes back and forth to jail, he changes his shoes. And so she always says, that I am definitely happy of the way that I was brought because I wouldn't have that. And I do agree with that, and I do understand, what she feels. But sometimes the curiosity of me being I would like to see, what it was like that my mother went through, that she felt I couldn't do it. What was so traumatic that you feel that you can raise the kids that you brought into this world?
Exactly.
Have you guys ever thought about that or felt any kind of way for that?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, up until that experience, it's I don't care what the circumstances are. I want to be with you. But I'm grateful that I was able to go another route, because I can imagine that my fate may have been like my father's. You know, that right now that I do have experiences that I can reach back on as to what you just stated, a two-parent household. You know, it wasn't like that because they were always separated. So I think that all of us go through different experiences to prepare us to share our experiences with other people. You know, so because everybody always think only I, nobody knows the problems that I've gone through, and we all the same underneath. We all want to be loved. You know, we all want to be safe and protected. And even though when bad things do happen, most of the time it strengthens you. You know, so that you're not a spoiled brat out here thinking that, you know, people owe you, because we all, you know, can think of somebody that's like, man, they had too much. Their parents gave them everything, and so now, you know, they won't work a job. They won't do. So I don't have any of those things, you know, and so I don't take a lot of things for granted. The areas that I do suffer in, where you want the amen on, where I hold on to a lot of stuff. One thing that I have learned too is that my tongue, you know, that I think that was you talking about words. They're so powerful. You can't take stuff back. And so a lot of things that I'm thinking, it's not true. A lot of times too. Sometimes it's kind of wrapped up in my emotions, and if I can kind of hold off, don't say anything. And I've learned that, you know, being in households where there's a lot of people and it's not just me, you know. So I'm grateful. I mean, it wasn't hunky dory, because as a kid, you know, you want to grow up, and all those dynamics that was going on wasn't what would be classified as normal. Because still now, it was like a lot of things that my parents were. I was wondering, am I going to be there? But I work hard not to be there. I work hard not to be there. And lastly, the thing that you were saying, how could you turn?
Diane said they wouldn't care.
Oh my God.
Lost your train of
thought. Yeah. That one right there.
Yeah, go ahead, Wendy.
Okay, so I just feel like if I would have not been where I'm in the foster care or adopted, that I believe that I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I think I would have had a more, how can I say this, more...
I ain't always about need her here.
I think I had a more rough life if I wasn't adopted and brought up by how I was brought up, because seeing my adopted mother as a single parent raise 6 kids on her own helps me become how she kept the house clean and how she kept us clean. And to this day, people talk about me even though she had 6 kids, every occasion, every birthday, every holiday, she made sure that we had a new outfit. So that rubbed off on me. So I feel like for every occasion, everything, my children have to have.
And you know she talks about you for that.
I know.
Her mom talks about her.
She talks about me for that, and that's how her and Jackie did us. We had new outfits for everything. She also talks about the way I clean up. And that's how we were brought up, to keep everything clean, and that's what I do. I clean up. I get bored and I just clean up. She talks about me. You need to sit down somewhere. I mean, that's how I was brought up. So, you know, I just appreciate. At first, I thought it was a punishment going through the adoption system. But actually, it was a blessing, because, like they say, God have a plan for everybody. It helped me become the woman that I am.
So, mine is a little bit differently. I have conversations where I talk with people, and I always tell them that, like, I'm going to brag on myself for a minute.
Of course.
I graduated from college, and I have my master's degree. I raised my son, and that's not things that, like, is, like, out of the extraordinary, but I say that to say this, like, the way that my life, the way that I was raised, that should not be me. You know, I always said that's the way that I was raised, and what I come through is not. You don't see that, or you don't, or people don't talk about that. I guess I'll say that people don't talk about getting to that success rate, and I still have a long ways before I can say that I'm successful. But I just always say that like my life was not supposed to be the way that it is now. The way that my life was going about not being raised in a household with my mother, and my mother being on drugs, my father being on drugs, raised in a family where I didn't even know. Like the crazy thing was the family that I was raised with, my other mom.
Yeah.
My mother used to sell their kids clothes. Like she was their booster.
Okay.
She was their booster. My mom used to go and steal.
Yeah.
She used to go and steal from the stores, and she would sell clothes to. I'm gonna get to the comments too in a minute, everybody. She would go and she would steal the clothes, and then my siblings would buy the clothes from her. And then like they used to always come out to the house and be like, you know, you look like you haven't ate. This is what they told me. And my mom said, you know, they tell them the truth. You know, you look like you hadn't ate, so they actually like took me. And while my mom was still kind of like out there a little bit, and then my mom ended up going to jail, and I was raised with them. So like, what all of that happening? Again, I just say that my life should, I guess, ideally, if I would have become a crackhead or someone who didn't value their kids or value their responsibilities, I would be like.
Part of the norm.
Yeah, it's part of the norm.
Yeah.
That's what I seen. So I'm thankful for that, and I always appreciate that. I'm going to read a couple comments because we've been on here a little while. I'm going to go to Diane said, we become a product of our environment, Monique. Sharon was your blessing, and you were blessed with her because God knew what you needed for your kids.
Thank you.
Good. Your mom said, Sharon said, a lot of biological parents are damaged. That's another great thing. A lot of parents are damaged from their upbringing. They are unable to parent. It's not that they don't love their children, and foster children sometimes feel that they just weren't good enough, not knowing that their parents just didn't know how. Now that's really powerful because this parent thing, this parent, Sharon said, stop saying crackhead, is addict. Okay.
I didn't say crackhead.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Just gonna lose my train of thought. Oh no, about not being good enough. So I've always felt like, as I've went through life, I mean, again, I've accomplished some things with being 30 years old. I've accomplished some things I'm, really proud of. But like, I always felt like that I could be doing more, and I don't know what that stems from, and maybe you're right, Sharon. It comes from like not always feeling whole. Not always feeling like you come from good stock. Because like I really don't, to be honest, I don't know what pushed me besides myself and the people around me to do the things that I have done. It just have to be like, again, that self-determination and that mindset to push through. Because you don't have those examples. Like Will used to always tell me, or I used to always tell you that I was going to college. And yeah, I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what it took to get there. Even until I got in high school, like I didn't know you graduated valedictorian.
Victorian.
Valedictorian.
You got a whole master's degree.
Valedictorian of your school, and I remember I remember watching you getting that. I was away at school, but I remember her calling me and telling me that because, like, who would have thought, Monique, that you would have accomplished something like that? Because the odds were stacked or against you. They were always against you, always against all of us. And we sit here, and we're not saying that this is my wrap up. I'm gonna still read some more comments, but okay, well, go ahead because I lost my train of thought.
Okay, and I want to go back to what Will say, how being in the foster care or adopted, how words mean everything to you, because it's like I still got a lot of hurt going on, and I have a lot of defense when people say something to me. Just a couple days ago, maybe it was earlier in the week, something had happened, and me and Michael was texting back and forth, and I knew in my heart after everything, all the text messages were done, he wasn't meaning what I thought he was trying to say. I took it into offense on my own, and I automatically jumped the gun. And I feel like he knew that I felt offended or my feelings was hurt because he then corrected everything he tried to say, and he said, "Well, I know." I can't remember how the text message go, but he knew what he knew.
Yeah.
He knew that my feelings may have been hurt or something. So he did correct it, but that's just to show you that any little thing someone say,
it can trigger
me, and bring back the past. And I have been trying to work on my attitude. I think getting in the medical field and working in the hospital have done a lot for my attitude. I deal with patients of all sorts. And it had made me calmer and have brought a better attitude. Yeah, brought an attitude. But at times, the attitude is triggered very easily, I should say. And I just feel like for my kids, this is the last thing I want to say. For my kids, I feel like I always want them, I'm a young mother with 4 kids, but I'm appreciative that they have their father, no matter what we go through, their father is always there for them. I don't show my appreciation to him, but he's actually, I couldn't imagine life without him because he helps so much with my children that he makes it a lot easier for me because it was a time that we were into it for about 2 months and I literally lost my mind. You can ask Michael. I didn't know what to do. I was Michael. I need him back. I don't know what I got to do to get him back, but I needed him because it's like since he's been there to help me with my children, that's a blessing to me. And I always wanted my children to have both parents because I didn't have both parents. So I always told myself, I want my own family. I want this for myself because I didn't have it.
And you long after things that you didn't have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch on the topic where you said you become angered a lot easily.
Yes.
So in the episode, Kamaya, the end, Ayanla gives the parents an assignment, and she said, "So look, in order for me to get this girl to open up to me, she cannot feel that she has any of your support because I need to get her mad to where she can go ahead and express what she feels."
Yes.
And when that happened, she lost it. And like you say, things like that trigger because I don't know if you guys noticed. I noticed that she said so you wasn't gonna answer your phone for me. She told you not to answer your phone, and then what she said to her boyfriend was and you just go leave, and it was that's what my mama did.
Yeah.
That's what my mama did that's what my mama did. That's how I felt alone when all this stuff is coming about. This is not my mother and this is my mother. Where do I go? Who can I depend on? And it just showed me that that's what she felt in that anger, and it triggered. And I mean that anger, it came
she was a different person.
She was a totally different person.
And that's the thing when that anger comes out from, it seemed like everything started rushing to your mind, things from the past that you never got over.
Yep.
When one thing gets you upset, everything rushes through your mind. So it's harder to wind down and calm down because it's so much go through your head. And it's the anger that I don't believe that me personally, I pray that one day I'm able to get over this anger because that's why I'm so mean and evil and have a guard up. But I pray that one day I could get over it. But if not, then I just pray that it get better. I just pray that it get better. But me having kids have calmed me down a whole lot.
Diane said something to your comment. She said, "Now in this generation, there is so much to offer to our young people. We have role models like Will and Sharon. Now, Michael and Monique, you guys have to instill those things in Kyra, which is my niece's daughter. And then Monique said you need to instill those things in your kids. Kyra always says, Mom, the kids today are leaders of our future. And I say, dang, that's scary. So Monique, this is where you guys are important to our kids. So that's really good. And then Diane said, Monique, me and Will always into it. I purposely ignore him. He always try to be someone's leader.
But
Because-
my thing is, I don't ignore my kids' father. I get at war, and then I feel like I know my anger gets so bad that I get on the phone and I call my mama. And I'm like, Ma, I can't take it. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. Get him out of here. So my mom say, well, put DC on the phone. She put, DC, just leave. Just leave. She gonna calm down. Just leave. This is what my mom's telling her because my mother knows my attitude and my anger. So she say, DC, just leave. Give her a couple days. Just leave. Let everything calm down. She'll be all right in a few days. And I can remember as me being a kid, my mama used to tell me, girl, I don't see how you gonna get a job and I don't see how you gonna work because that attitude, I used to get mad and frustrated when I get hot. I used to go crazy. And she used to say, I just pray that you get a job that's going to accommodate you because I don't see how you going to work. And now I'm in a freezing hospital.
So now we are officially going to wrap this up a little bit. And I'm going to just say this, that the topic is, what is family? And what I have come to realize is that your family is those who are around you and those who instill in you. Family doesn't always mean blood. I know it may sound cliche, but family doesn't always mean blood. Blood is not always the best thing for you.
Exactly.
And we learn those things as we get older. We understand that like we've been saying before, the things that we go through, they trigger the way that we behave as we become adults. Whether it becomes a negative impact or whether it becomes a positive impact and we turn it around and we impact somebody else.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of interviews, like I said before, online, and I've seen someone to say, when someone reaches out for help, and they always say, well, if someone reaches out to you for help and someone helped you, your response should be, well, I'm going to do what someone else did for me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I always think about you for that, Will, because now, again, all the kids call me Uncle Mike. And he was Uncle Will growing up, growing up. And as far as just being that person that people want to be around is because you want to be the person that you needed growing up. And again, that's not always blood. And we have to come together because it does take a village.
Yes.
Again, as cliche as these things sound, it takes a village to get our kids to where they need to be. And I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to give each of my co-hosts some closing remarks time. If you have something coming up, if you just have something that you want to say, you go ahead and you give that. You can also give your handles if you want people to follow you on social media and all that. So,
So I just want to, I didn't think I would ever have the courage to discuss this topic. So when Michael came to me with it, it took me a minute to accept that I was going to sit here and talk about this because I didn't want to be judged or I didn't want anyone to, have something negative to say. But I just, I'm happy that I was able to talk about it. It actually made me feel better inside that I was able to let out some things and let people know my background because my story may help somebody that's watching. And I wanted to thank my mother for taking me and my siblings in. And we may not show our appreciation, but you helped us become the people that we are today. And I personally appreciate everything you have done because you made me become a strong mother today.
that's just because she's watching, y'all.
That's not. She's not letting me see all this. And I also appreciate my grandmother, which is Michael's mother. She had been there from day one. Since my family is in Chicago, her and Michael, any time of the night, anytime I call, she come running. She may say her little words,
She don't say it.
but definitely she's going to come. It don't matter the time, the hour. She's going to cuss you out. It's been times where I was in financial problems that I didn't know what way I was going to get out. And she'll wait till the last minute just to say, I had the money the whole time. I just wanted to see what you was going to do. But here you go. And I appreciate it. Even Michael, even us being so close in age, he have always been there for me and my kids and treated us like his own. So I appreciate everything and everybody.
Yeah.
It just goes to say that family is not always
Just
blood.
because you blood don't make you family.
Yep.
Because our relationship developed because of your mother, your biological mother, Bernice, and I love her because what a wonderful person! What a person that could show you love and discipline all at the same time. And so, throughout this process, I've learned that a toxic parent can be as bad as an absent.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And so in lieu of all of our situations and the people that's out here, one of the things sick is our secrets that I've always gotten better. It don't feel good talking about it, and this may not be a topic, Mike, that gets you that million hits, but it is one that is
it's gonna hit the soul.
It's critically important, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes the people so caught up with the outside that it looked good, that I got this nice car, as opposed to I got a nice home with my kids and stuff. So this was a subject that when you brought it to me, I thought, why do I get the homely, boring? I want the relationships where people gonna be on fire talking stuff. But this has been a great opportunity. I'm very, very proud of the person. I've always said that, and I always said the things that you're doing is. It's just enlightening. When I saw you sent me that link where you were standing at church, I always think about the things that we leave for the people that when we leave.
Yeah.
It's not the things that we do for ourselves. It's nice to get the degrees, the houses, and all that stuff, but it's the seeds that we plant in people. And so when you were standing up there, I thought that nobody will have an armored truck behind their hearse, but all the kids that you touch. And so it makes me feel that it was worth it, And so today, as I watch your podcast and I see the views from Miss Diane Carroll, she and I went through a lot, but you know what? We're parents.
She said on here that y'all are best friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and she says you don't want, that I want to be a leader. It's funny how women want you to be a leader until you're a leader.
Yeah,
I don't want you telling me what to do. But if I'm leading you in the right direction, it should be okay. So I'm just glad to be here. Glad that you allowed this topic. It was funny. You said Monique wasn't gonna talk. She ain't had no problem.
I know.
I wasn't gonna talk.
I
I thought before I was a little nervous when he was getting ready to go live. I didn't say nothing, but I was nervous until
you just started.
Yeah.
So
good job.
Okay. Well, again, I do thank both of you guys for coming today. Of course, y'all both know I love y'all dearly. I'm happy that we have the relationship that we all have. And my closing remarks is just that just love the people around you.
Yes.
Love the people around you. The song "What the World Needs Now Is Love." Sweet love could not be any truer.
Yeah.
Because that's all that we need to make it through. That's all what we need to help build each other up and to uplift people to be the best that they need to be.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep it short with that. But again, this is your favorite family member, Uncle Mike. This is Let's Talk About It. We have another episode in the books. I'm extremely proud and excited about this episode. You can follow me on all social media. I'm sorry. You can follow my social media page at LTAIPod. That's at LTAIPOD for Let's Talk About It podcast. I am on Twitter and I am on Facebook under that handle. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Uncle Mike63, where I give you guys upcoming topics and shows. And again, if you ever feel like that you want a topic for us to talk about, or for or constructive criticism, please make sure that you reach out. I receive all constructive criticism. Realize that this is my show. But no, I understand all constructive criticism, and I do welcome it, and I appreciate you guys. Again, thank you, and peace out. If no one has told you that they love you today, understand and know that Uncle Mike loves you. Appreciate it. Gotta end the video.